Today, we are going to talk about alleged scoliosis considerations when it comes to pain in the human body. This has been a very, very long standing issue that I've been meaning to get out to help people with. I first encountered issues like this, I want to say back in like 2016. And the first person that I saw that I was working on that had an issue like this had a decent amount of back pain. He was an older gentleman. I want to say maybe about 50, 55. And when he took his shirt off, I was completely confused as to what was going on, because he never had scoliosis before. But then when his back started hurting and then it became chronic, he ended up going to the chiropractor, and the chiropractor took X-rays and was like, "Yo, dude, like look at your spine. It's going left when it should be straight." And when you looked at him with his shirt off, you could totally see that there was a period in his lower lumbar where his body started to go sideways. And because this gentleman did not have scoliosis prior to the back pain, I started to question everything. I was like, this isn't scoliosis. And when you dig deeper into it, what you end up finding out is that there's two different types of scoliosis. You have functional scoliosis and you have structural scoliosis. Okay? These are my definitions, these are my terms, they're not anybody else's. But when we look at functional scoliosis, okay, it is developed sometime in your life, and typically it's not too severe. And when I say not too severe, it means that there is not a gigantic curve going on in your spine. Sometimes you can't even tell without an x-ray. You got back pain, you go somewhere, they take an x-ray, and it's like, oh, look, your spine is crooked. And you're like, hey, wait a minute, how did that happen? And nobody knows, okay? And typically, this is due to a fall, an injury, or a whole lot of emotional stress or trauma built up in the lower back and the lower lumbar. Well, what does the lower back correlate to when we are looking or talking about back pain? It's support. What does your back do for you? It supports your upper body, okay, and connects it to the lower body. So if you have ever had back pain and maybe you had a little bit of scoliosis, but it wasn't really that bad, and you don't know how to get rid of it, still kind of chronic, keeping you in pain, this video is for you, okay? When we look at structural scoliosis, you're born with this, and it's pretty severe, okay? A lot of times people that have structural scoliosis, you can see that their back is crooked through their shirt. They don't have to take their shirt off. You can see the shoulders are crooked, the hips are crooked, and the back or the spine is winding every which way. Okay? That is structural scoliosis. Now, what I'm going to show you in part 2 of this series, it will still help ameliorate any type of pain issues that you're having. Okay? But it's going to be very, very difficult for you to fix it on your own. All right, completely. And you may never even get there. But if you're moving it, a quarter to a half a degree in the right direction as you're getting older, at least it's not getting worse as you age. Okay? So I still implore you to check out part 2 of this video series. So here is a typical text message that I get sometimes from people, and they will show me the x-rays that they got either from their doctor or from their chiropractor. And you see here, not really like a massive scoliotic bend that you would typically see, okay? I blew it up over here on the right-hand side, and you can see, like, yes, the hips are definitely drifting left. We're losing space between the ribs and the pelvis here on the left-hand side, okay? So this is a problem. Sometimes there's pain, sometimes there's not pain, okay? The body does not have any obligation to make any sense to you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, but this is still what we're dealing with and what we're looking at when I talk about functional scoliosis. Okay, so this is a little test that you can do. Okay, really easy. Just bend over and have somebody take a picture of you. All right, and this is what I find. Look at this lady right here. Okay, you can see now if we go back to this right here, you can see how this left side, okay, we're losing space between the rib and the hip. Look at these lines. Do it in the blown up portion right here. Look at these lines. Okay, trunk is leaning to the left, hips are shooting up into the left. All right. And now we look at this lady right here. Look at all the space we're losing on the left hand side. Okay. But more importantly, it's characterized by you then leaning on this left leg, and then we push a lot more force to the right side back. Okay. So the right side back gets really built up. Look at this gentleman here. Okay. He had a lot of back pain. Young kid, 24, 25, I think, something like that. Bends over, and look at how short and tight we are over here on the right hand side. And then look at how built up the erector spinae, okay, and the rectors of the back are on this left side. So here's another young woman, okay, bending over, same thing, okay, everything on the left hand side. We're short here on the lower left back, okay, and then what ends up happening is we're leaning on this left leg, okay, typically the left leg is short as well, all right, and then what ends up happening, we build up tissue on the right hand side of the back, okay, and you can obviously see that everything is just leaning to the left. And the problem isn't the left side, the problem is the right side. Okay, the only problem that we have on the left hand side is that quadratus lumborum. That guy is what's shoring up, getting tighter and tighter. Okay, but it's not the quadratus lumborum, it's actually controlled by the shoulder, and I'll show you that here. Okay, here are two gentlemen that I worked on in, I want to say, maybe the last 6 months. This person here, look at his shirt. Okay, you can't really see that the left trap is high because he doesn't have his shirt off. But if I were to draw a line with his collarbones, I mean, look at how the collarbones are just leaning down to the right. The problem isn't the right hand side, the problem is the left hand side. The high side is always your problem. Okay, you can even see how his sunglasses are sitting, leaning to the low side. Look at his shirt, leaning to the low side. Okay, he's not standing crooked, he is crooked. Okay, and his clothes are now crooked. All right, and what we find too when we look at shorts, okay, is whatever side is typically short, the shorts are going to be lower on that side, and then they're going to be higher on the other side. Okay, this gentleman right here with his shirt off, look at how tight and god awful this left trap is. Okay, and you can see, all right, how his midsection doesn't quite look right. Okay, this area is okay, but then look at this area, okay, and then how everything is starting to kind of shift to the left hand side because this area is getting so tight. Okay, so look at the high trap over here. We got to hammer that guy down, and then we got to loosen up and let go of this left hand side. Small oblique over here, big rounded oblique over here. Okay, that is the problem. Now, I'm sorry, that is the symptom. That is not the problem. So, this is the issue right here. Okay, we get a aligned atlas, brain stem is happy, and so is the spine and the blood vessels. Now, sometime throughout the course of your life, you either fell, maybe you took a hard check in hockey, maybe you just got blasted with a tackle at the goal line in football, maybe you ran into a hard pick in basketball. Body got stopped, but the head kept on going. Okay, and what ends up happening is your atlas, which is your first cervical vertebrae, and then your axis, which is your second. We have C1 and C2. When the atlas gets misaligned, we compress the brainstem. Okay, now Everybody wants to look at an anatomy chart and say we have 10,000 nerves in our body. Spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, we have one nerve and it starts at the brain stem, goes to the spinal cord, and then out through the rest of the body. Okay? So, right there, ladies and gentlemen, everybody out there, you MDs, all you physical therapists talking about the subcutaneous nerve or the median nerve or, this nerve and that nerve. Guys, girls, let's check the atlas and the axis first. Okay, let's make sure that the signal isn't getting fuzzy on the way out the door first. Okay, let's make sure the signal is not getting fuzzy from the brain to the brainstem to the spinal cord. All right, this is where you guys and girls should always be looking first for problems with misalignment of the shoulders and the hips. Okay, so going back here, when I was talking about legs being short, you're going to lay down on the chiropractic table or on the practitioner's table, and what's going to happen is typically this leg will be short because this is where he's leaning. This leg will be short, and this leg will be short. And what chiropractors or therapists love to do is either jam on the hips or tug on the leg in order to track it and get those legs even. Okay, but then you stand up. By the time you get to your car out in the parking lot, guess what? Your fascial system, because the arrangement, the problem was not addressed, only the symptom, okay, that leg gets short again, and then your pain comes back 2, 3, 4 days later. All right. Now, this is the real problem right here, okay? Having a tight, okay, a very tight shoulder, all right, or trap muscle, which is going to misalign the atlas. It's going to pull the head off to the left, so that left side is tight, okay? The right side is going to be stretched and tight. This is what we call being locked long or locked in an anchored state, okay? Picture picture two posts, all right, in the ground, and then you put a metal bar that's connecting both of those posts. The older that bar gets, okay, it gets rusty. It starts to rattle in the wind. You grab it and you can just shake it, and a lot of rust is coming off. Think about that's what your spine and your head are dealing with on the right hand side, okay? This tissue here gets locked long, and we're going to talk about what else gets locked long in just a second, okay? Bear with me. This tissue gets locked long here, all right? And then look at the cornucopia of problems we get, okay? We'll get headaches on this side, all right? We get distorted brain images, all right? You also get headaches on this left side as well, all right? So what I like to tell people is this is your angry tension over here on the left-hand side because that's the problem, okay? And then this is your anchored tension over here on the right-hand side. So you'll get contracted shoulder blades, okay, which will give you shoulder, arm pain, maybe even a little bit of chest pain too. You get contracted spinal muscles, which lead to back pain. Look at how the ribs are getting closer to the hip, okay? Your hip is going to get contracted too, so you get hip pain, and it says raised hip right there too. And then you're looking at a tight hamstring, you might get knee pain, tight calf muscles, foot pain, which lead to foot pain. And then there's your short leg right there, okay? Tight left trap, head's being pulled to the left. What ends up happening? We get a short right leg. So everybody wants to pull on that leg. Everybody wants to jam on that hip. Those are your symptoms, ladies and gentlemen. They're not your problem, okay? The problem is the shoulder. The hips are held in orientation opposite to the shoulder. You see that? Okay? So what we want to do is we want to get into that left trap. Open that left trap. Stop compressing the brainstem. Stop making the message fuzzy on the way out the door, okay? Down the spinal cord to the rest of the 10,000 nerves. All right, you guys got me? So the last consideration in this functional scoliosis issue is that everything on the left-hand side of the body becomes locked in a lengthened state as well. Look at how this is open here. Look at how the leg also, if you're leaning to the right, if your Your myofascial nervous system is being dragged and pulled down to the right. The hamstring on the left leg is going to be locked in a lengthened state, and so is the calf. So what'll happen too is you'll start to get some Achilles issues, you'll start getting some hamstring issues. And what I call this is the hornet's nest, okay? Truly, it is what creates a hornet's nest of pain in your body, okay? And it can lead you going down the rabbit hole of Western medicine where, they offer you pills, then it's a little bit more invasive, which is shots. And then because we're compressing discs and whatnot, we start getting into surgery, okay? Or if we get compartment syndrome, we start cutting the fascia open to let that out, all right? I don't want you guys going down that route. Look at part 2 of the video. Depending on how tight or bad that shoulder is, okay, it's going to dictate how long you guys are going to be working on this issue to get yourself straightened out, okay? The other option is always to contact me. I can help you virtually, or a lot of people love coming down here to sunny Florida, coming down to my office to get some work done and to get right, okay? So I hope this made a ton of sense to you guys today. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, share it. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, because I'm going to be bringing out a lot more stuff that people aren't really talking about, okay, in order to help you be happy, healthy, pain-free, move younger, and feel younger. All right, guys, this is CK out for the Pain Bibles. And once again, I hope that you enjoyed part 1 of this video series, talking about advanced mobility considerations in functional scoliosis.